So you probably just read the title and was like, oh, I'm going to comment and tell him how wrong he is and all that stuff. You're welcome to do that because that's interaction. I like interaction. But let me explain why I didn't like the Xbox Developer Direct. So let's just run through everything. We'll start with the first announcements, which was Ninja Gaiden 4 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Remake Black, which I need to make this very clear, was great announcements. You know, announcing a game and then having it released around 6 months later, because it's in fall of in America, so that'd be around in around 6 months, is great. Announcing a game in the same year it's coming out is the greatest thing I've ever seen a company do. And then on top of that being like, and yeah, we know a 6-month wait is really long. Guess what? Here's just an incy-wincy little remake of the first one for a cheaper price. That's fire. That's awesome. And also, we got to talk about the value of Game Pass. Like, all these games day one, that's pretty damn good. I ain't gonna lie. I prefer to own my games, but yeah, my point stands. You know, but yeah, the first announcement was good. Let me tell you why I didn't like it. And it's very simple. I'm sick of Asian games. I'm not racist. I like Asians. I like Asian games, but last year there were just so many games that came out of Asia. Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and just many more. Those are just the pinnacle ones, like the big ones. Rise of Ronin being another one. I've been really burnt out on games that have come out of Asia. I feel like we're getting so many Asian games. I'm feeling very burnt out. That's why I'm really excited for games like Avowed or AC Shadows or what's it called? Kingdom Come Deliverance. So I'm really excited for that. I already have that pre-ordered, you know, because I'm really sick of Asian games. I just am. I'm getting bored of them, you know, and I'm sure, and I want to make this very clear, I'm very, very sure Ninja Gaiden 4 is going to be a fantastic game. I think it's going to be amazing, you know, and Ninja Gaiden 2 Remake has been just getting nothing but praise all across the board. But for me, I'm just not there. I'm very not interested, especially with how many games we got last year. I'm very excited to see that this year is going to be more Western developer focused instead of going for the more Asian, because last year was very Asia focused. There's a lot of games that came out of Asia. Like most of the nominations were all Asian games, you know, if that was Shadow of the E Tree, which I don't believe should have gotten nominated, but that's, you know, Astrobot, games that got nominated for Game of the Year, you know, like Mode of Poor, like heaps of games. They were all Asian and they all got nominated, and it was like, well, it's great and they're fun to play, but we just get too many of them. And this year, I feel like it's going to be the exception. I feel like we're going to get a lot more Western games this year. And some people don't like Western games because they're full of DEI and all that stuff. And, you know, but for me, I'm very excited to see more Western games. Then we go into the second announcement, which was South of Midnight, which I want to make very clear. Looks interesting. I think the world looks interesting. I love that they're going for the, like, Mississippi type mythology type stuff. I love the art style. And the gameplay looks great. But I'm going to be real with y'all. The perk system seems, the skills tree system seems very basic and kind of boring. And that character, I don't believe is going to be very good. The character looks like that stereotypical obnoxious black character. You know, there's a black character done very right, and there's a black character done very wrong. And I feel like this is going to be one of those examples where they do a black character very wrong, where they're just obnoxious and annoying the entire time, making snide remarks and just aren't very good characters to play, you know, characters who you end up hating. And when you hate the main protagonist, the character you're playing, it makes the game very unenjoyable. You know, if you can't nail the main character, you don't have a game there, because who wants to spend 16 hours of their life playing a character that's obnoxious and rude the entire time? Personally, not my thing. Again, this is an unreleased game. Maybe it releases and it blows my mind and my opinion on it completely changes. But I feel like they're going to do this character very wrong. And before you go, what do you mean by black character done right and black character done wrong? You know, I'm not going to go specifically into that because it can turn into a very long conversation. But you know, I feel like there are examples of a black character, not even black character. I think it's mainly just writing. You know, writing a character right, you know, and I just don't believe they're going to write this character very right. Then we go into the next announcement, which was Expedition 33, which, once again, like South of Midnight and like Ninja Gaiden 4, looks incredible. You know, it looks great graphically. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna have. I'll have my opinion on the story in a second. I think it's going to have good gameplay. It's looking very promising. I love what they're doing with the world map. How it's gonna be like a 3D type world map. I think that's awesome. You know, my concern mainly with the story is just really. I feel like it's gonna. As much as it's trying to like make it out, it's gonna have its funny moments. It's gonna have its goofy character and all that stuff. I feel like its number one problem is the story is going to take itself very seriously, and when serious parts actually happen, it's just going to. I don't feel like I'm going to care. I don't feel like I'm going to care about a lot of the characters, but hey, I could be completely wrong. Maybe the character development's great, and it seems like they will do a very good job, and that's where I'm getting with this. The game looks fantastic, but it's not my type of game. Gameplay was just really not my thing. I'm not really into those types of RPG style games. Like, I want to make this very clear. Games like the earlier games like Dragon Quests and the original Final Fantasies are some, like really great games. I love those games. Playing them on my Switch, just chilling on my bed, chilling on my couch, just playing those games. Great handheld games, you know, and I love the 8-bit style of them, or the style of them. Like, I've been recently playing through the Dragon Quest 3 remake on the Switch, which is fantastic to play. 3D remake. It's very fun. It's very enjoyable. I've been loving it, and I love the gameplay. I love the combat in those games. But I think the prime example is when it's 3D based. Like, for an example, One Piece Odyssey. I played a bit of One Piece Odyssey, and I really found myself not enjoying that game very much. Why did I not enjoy that game very much? The combat. That type of combat, that turn-based type of combat, you all know the combat I'm describing, just really isn't my thing. It's not very enjoyable. It's not very fun. I don't personally find it enjoyable when it comes to those style of games. When it's done in an 8-bit format, like with the original Final Fantasies, I love it. It's great. I love that type of combat with those types of games. But it's an example of the art style has to go the same with the gameplay. You know, like what I said, I love how the original. I don't hate turn-based. I don't hate that type of gameplay. But for me, it has to be a specific type of game. Again, the original Final Fantasies, fantastic. You know, how they play and the combat just works for that type of game. But I feel like when you go into a 3D realm and you art style it that way, and it's like that, and it plays like One Piece Odyssey, and it's graphically like One Piece Odyssey, and then it goes to the more turn-based, like that type of combat. You'll know the type of combat I'm talking about. I just don't like it. It's not enjoyable to me. If the combat was different, if the combat was more like linear, I don't know, God of War style game, but you're switching between characters, I'd love that. But I know that's generic, but I would. You know, that's just personally how I feel. The combat isn't my thing, but I've been yapping too much about the combat of that game. I've been yapping about that for like 3 minutes. You're understanding what I mean. That type of combat in that type of art style of game doesn't work for me. I've never liked it. Just my thing. Not my thing, sorry. Then we go to the final announcement, which was Doom the Dark Age, which this is the only announcement I really liked. I love the Doom games. They're fantastic. They're really fun. And talking about the Doom games, I really want to replay them on stream, but that's going to have to wait probably until March, because I got a lot of games coming out in Feb that I need to play. And games to catch up on, which was the only game I really loved. Like, it's going to be Doom. I love it's going to be stand and fight instead of like jumping around. And, you know, I love that. I love how it was shown. I love everything about it. I can't even, I could go on for hours about Doom the Dark Ages and how much I'm really excited for it, and how much it is going to be a day one pickup for me. Physically, for my PlayStation 5, you know, it's going to be beautiful. You know, that was the only announcement I liked, you know, but I think you're getting what I mean. The direct was a direct. It was fantastic. I would rate it an A objectively. From an objective level, this direct was fantastic. It was amazing. You know, it had great announcements, great moments. It was definitely a shock that they showed the secret game first, which made me hope that there was going to be another secret game, but there was never another secret game. The announcements were great. The games they showed were great. Like, everything about them were really good and were really solid. But some of the games just weren't my style, and some of them I was really burnt out on. Some of them I don't like the gameplay for. Some of them I don't have too much confidence in personally, you know, and I just didn't like it. You know, there were a lot of announcements there that just wasn't me and wasn't the type of games I like to play. They just weren't my types of game. They just weren't my type of game, you know. Besides Doom the Dark Ages, I really didn't like a lot of the announcements. But I can see how Xbox did a very good job, you know. The developers went very in depth. I loved that part of it, but for me, it wasn't my thing. And that's why I didn't like the Xbox Developer Direct. And personally, I rated it when I watched it a D, which is really low because you've got D, C, B, A, and S. D is the lowest, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like a lot of the games announced. I just wasn't my thing. But I can see how objectively it was a very amazing announcement. It had a lot of really great announcements. It went really in depth on games we really had nothing on. You know, and I do have to say, I'm shocked Expedition 33 didn't have pre-orders up the same day. That was kind of shocking. I thought it would, especially seeing as it's only coming out 2 weeks after South of Midnight and before Doom the Dark Ages, which has pre-orders up now. But who knows? Maybe who knows what's going to happen? But it is wish listable, so that's one thing. But yeah, it just wasn't my type of thing. And I understand some people probably loved it, but wasn't my thing. But this is going a little too long. I'm yapping too long. I want to hear what y'all think about the Direct. Did you love it? Was it just not really your thing? Similar to how I felt. But yeah, and if you disagree, that's fine. But that's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. If you disagree with it, that's okay. Comment anyways. Shit on me. That's interaction. I don't care. But yeah, again, I want to hear what y'all think. Did you love the Direct? Did you not really like it too much? Yeah. All good. Bye.